Hello, and welcome to part two of Indictment Day on Fairly Unbalanced with me, Mike Tallon. I am walking home from after my run. I just got off the road where there was too much traffic to make this, and I just wanted to really note three more things that came out of yesterday that have not been too heavily commented upon by the mediocrity. The mediocrity could be. Let me just grab a seat here. So, the first thing is something that didn't happen. And it's difficult to comment on things that don't happen, but sometimes they're the most important event of the day, or the most important non-event of the day. When all of this started to come out that Donald Trump might be arrested, might be arraigned, he made a call to his supporters to get out and support their lunatic king. And nobody showed up. Think about the pictures you saw yesterday. Most of the people in the crowd who you saw had cameras. They were all media. I looked at an aerial photograph or an aerial shot of the crowd, and it's about 500 people from the press, and there are maybe 100 Trump people there, and then maybe another 100 just kind of average New Yorkers who, by their very nature, friggin' hate Trump. The one thing that was kind of funny was that Marjorie Taylor Greene showed up. Maybe she has some humiliation fetish in her psych profile, but she sure caught it when she got there, and she was chased through the crowd. Michael Rapaport, the actor, happened to be there, and he is an absolute genius of insult, and he kind of led the chance against her. I'll link the video below. It's friggin' hilarious. God bless you, Michael Rapaport. But what didn't happen, aside from the crowds not being very big, is that his brown shirts didn't show up. Think about it. For the past couple of years, Donald Trump has had brown shirts. He has had fascist thugs who do his street violence. He's had the Three Percenters, he's had the Oath Keepers, and he's had the Proud Boys. Only after they attacked the Capitol, the leadership of the Oath Keepers have been convicted of seditious conspiracy and are facing like 20 years in jail. The leadership of the Proud Boys are on trial now for similar charges and will likely go down. He made a call for his thugs to come to the street, and they didn't. Donald Trump no longer has brown shirts. That's hugely important. I'm sure there's some militia guys out there in Montana somewhere, but they didn't come to New York. That's huge. The second thing that was much commented upon in the news, totally unrelated, was that Donald Trump raised $7 million in the night before he was arrested. And he was tweeting a lot on Truth Social, his alternative social media site. And he raised $7 million. And this is always treated by the media as evidence of his enormous power as a politician. I don't see it that way. Most politicians who raise money use it in a very specific way. They spend it on their campaigns, or they spend it to support the campaigns of fellow travelers. Donald Trump doesn't do that. He's like an asshole dragon who just hoards the money. God knows what happens to it, but he never spends it. So you want to give him $7 million? Have at it. To my mind, that just takes 7 million yokel dollars off the table and sticks it into his back pocket where he's never going to spend it. Fine. And he's certainly not going to spend it on the rest of the GOP. If he's going to spend it on anybody, it's going to be on his own disastrous campaign, which, great, let him do it. The third thing is the most important and the most disturbing. He returned to Mar-a-Lago yesterday. He returned to his role as the Phantom of Mar-a-Lago, and he gave a speech. And the speech was filled with all of the standard claptrap of the king of the victims. Everybody's out to get him. Fawny Willis is a racist. Alvin Bragg is a monster. Jack Smith is insane. Hunter's dick pics want to come and kiss him on the cheek. Benghazi, Hillary Clinton. It's all madness. But he slipped something in there that was really troubling. He noted, kind of apropos of nothing, that within the next couple of months, the US dollar will no longer be the world reserve currency and everything will go to hell. Now, if the US dollar ceases to be the world reserve currency, he is right, everything will go to hell. But the only way that happens in the next few months, the only way that happens in the next few months, is if the United States blows through the debt ceiling. And him mentioning that last night, I read it. Nobody else is reading it this way, but my read on it was that there have been conversations between the Trump people in Mar-a-Lago and the Marjorie Taylor Greene Three-Toed Sloth Committee in Congress, that they understand that the only way that Donald Trump returns to the White House in 2024 is if the world is burning and he can position himself as the strong man who will make everything right again. You can't convince the American public, if things are okay, that Donald Trump, the chaos agent, is somehow an improvement. That will not happen. So the only way that Donald Trump gets back into the White House is if they set the world on fire. And his mentioning the collapse of the dollar as the world reserve currency made me think that there is an actual coordinated plan to force this into happening. That should refocus all of us on the bigger stakes of what's going to happen this summer. Yes, it will be fun to watch the E. Jean Carroll depositions and court case that are coming up. We know she has a dress out there with his DNA on it. And, you know, nothing funny about rape, but it will be somewhat joyful to watch him put on trial for those charges. It'll be funny to watch what happens in Georgia. It'll be funny to watch what happens coming out of the special counsel's investigation. It's gonna be a bad year for Donald Trump, but he really will burn down the whole world in an effort to save his own ass, and he has allies in Congress who will do the same. That's the scary thing about what happens this summer, and we should never forget it. Still, enjoy these couple of days, and love to you all, unless you're a fascist. I'm going to get home and have my dinner. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.